No queremos la paz de los esclavos, ni queremos la paz de las colonias. Colonia, nunca.
American soldiers rappelled from helicopters onto a massive oil tanker off the coast of Venezuela and seized it. The U.S. says this is about stopping drug trafficking.
Is to destroy these drug boats, which are running drugs into our country from foreign drug cartels.
But when you look at what's actually been happening over the last 3 months, the strikes, the deployments, and what's being said on both sides, the picture gets a lot more complicated. Venezuela calls it piracy.
A un asalto militar, secuestro y robo como piratas del Caribe.
Since September, the U.S. military has carried out 22 strikes on boats in the Caribbean, 87 people killed. The administration says these were drug traffickers, narco-terrorists working for Venezuelan gangs.
Operation directed by the president to ensure that we're pushing back on a regime that is systematically covering and flooding our country with deadly drugs.
Trump designated these groups as foreign terrorist organizations back in January, and he's been clear about his view of Venezuela's president.
I don't want to say that, but...
But you want to see him out?
His days are numbered.
The administration has not released public evidence that any of these boats were carrying drugs. No seized narcotics, no test results. According to U.S. government data, over 90% of drugs leaving Venezuela are headed to Europe, not the United States. The drug driving America's overdose crisis, fentanyl, comes primarily through Mexico, not the Caribbean.
In fact, we also know that fentanyl, which is primarily fueling the drug overdose deaths in America, is not originating or transiting through Venezuela. The fentanyl is typically manufactured in Mexico with precursors from China.
The UN human rights chief has called for an investigation, citing strong indications of extrajudicial killings. Several legal experts say the strikes may violate international law. In one documented case from September, the military conducted a follow-up strike on a boat that had already been hit, killing survivors who were in the water. And then, this week, they seized an oil tanker, not drugs. So what is this really about? Well, depends who you ask. The U.S. position is that Maduro runs a narco state. Venezuelan gangs are flooding America with drugs and killing their young people. This is law enforcement and national security.
They're killing our young people from age 18 to 45. Probably during the time we've talked, there's probably been 24 people die of overdoses.
Caracas says this is about oil. Venezuela has the largest proven oil reserves on Earth, larger than Saudi Arabia. The drug war is a pretext. Maduro calls it an attempted coup. Here's what we can verify. Venezuela does export significant amounts of cocaine, but most of it goes to Europe. The tanker that was seized? It was carrying oil to Cuba, allegedly in violation of sanctions. Vladimir Putin called Maduro days ago to express strong support. China has billions invested in Venezuelan oil. Iran helps them avoid sanctions. The U.S. has authorized CIA operations in Venezuela. Trump said so publicly.
President Trump says he authorized the CIA to conduct covert operations in Venezuela.
Why did you authorize the CIA to go into Venezuela?
I authorized for two reasons, really. Number one, they have emptied their prisons into the United States of America. And the other thing are drugs. We have a lot of drugs coming in from Venezuela.
Senator Chris Van Hollen, after the tanker seizure, said this.
This operation they're conducting is not about drugs. But that is just a cover story presented by the President of the United States. So that's not what this is about. This is about their efforts to engage in regime change.
So where does this lead? Maduro has Russian backing, Chinese investment, a military that stayed loyal. He's not going quietly. The opposition has international recognition, a Nobel Prize, and now, apparently, U.S. military pressure. 87 people are dead from strikes. The administration hasn't proven were drug-related. An oil tanker is on its way to Texas. Land strikes have been threatened, but not confirmed. Is this a drug war? A regime change operation? Something in between? The facts don't give us a clean answer. But they do tell us this: what happens next in Venezuela won't stay in Venezuela. Russia, China, the US, they're all invested. Oil, influence, and the future of the Western Hemisphere are on the table.